Casablanca, a city romanticised by a film that wasn't even shot here. It's big, it's modern, it's cosmopolitan, but it's also dirty, noisy and polluted. Who would want to up sticks and move here? There's a cinematic civil war erupting to prove to the rest of the world that India has so much more to offer. And the battle begins here in Britain. Billed as India's equivalent of the Oscars, the IFAs have previously been held in Singapore, Malaysia, South Africa, Dubai, Amsterdam. This year's IFA attendees are going to experience something slightly different. They're coming to Yorkshire. Every literary year brings a new wave of writers. Recently, they've been British Asian. And whether they're writing about gang warfare, sexual tension or crossing cultural barriers, they appear to meet the buyer's demands. However, the authenticity of some of these books has been questioned. Not every British Asian author has written from personal experience. Does it matter? Paris, a city famous for so many things. Its passion and perfect climate for the arts is what brings me here. I know this is a question that's been addressed to you regularly, but are you the protagonist of the book? Are you Puppy?
I'm not Puppy, but me and Puppy would get on like a house on fire. That's
but you
what
are,
I'd say.
you are him.
I've certainly never had 3 months like he's had. He has in that book. I've never had 3 months like that. I mean, you know, I wish to God I had.
What made you choose Cinema of Prayoga as something to not only exhibit, but then tour?
Cinema of Prayoga. Prayoga is a term that specifically means experimental. But it's also very much a kind of filmmaking that exists in India that is contrary to the Bollywood filmmaking industry. And we really want to just create an aperture, a gateway into this incredibly exciting body of work.
Now, why choose experimental cinema as opposed to Bollywood, which in a sense would guarantee you a huge audience?
The primary agenda is to expose an audience to films that really have not been seen in the UK. So it's really, I mean, Tate is here to present opportunities for people to see more obscure work like this.
Although Casablanca was originally founded by the Portuguese, it wasn't until the early 20th century when the French arrived that it became the busy industrial city we know it as today. To me, the city looks run down and shabby, but if you're looking for a dream home, Casablanca may have just what you're looking for. This place cost a mere £45,000. But what is it they say? Location, location, location. Well, I can see why big cities like Leeds and Bradford might benefit from the arrival of big Bollywood stars. But what about the rest of Yorkshire? What do you think Yorkshire has to offer Indian filmmakers?
Yorkshire has an awful lot to offer filmmakers as a location because it's so diverse, from the urban landscapes of all the thriving cities that we've got here, but we've also got rolling hills, the coastline, everything really that you could possibly want. So that's why it's not hard to see why people come to Yorkshire to make films, and that's why it's really exciting to get Bollywood here.
You use the phrase authenticity in talking about whether Asian writers need to be authentic or whether it's a baseless term in a sense. What were you trying to get at by raising this question? Until autumn this year, the Cinema of Prayoga project will be touring the country with selected films which actually showcase the development of Indian art cinema over a period of 90 years. These include The Secret History of India, films from 2 founding periods of Indian cinema. How would you describe yourself then, as a contemporary Kathak dancer? Or, I mean, you follow so many forms. Who are you? What are you?
When we first started the company, I was calling myself a dancer. But I feel more responsible as the choreographer now because I think it's about the vision that matters more to me than me necessarily performing on stage.
Who would have thought that up until only 3 years ago, this luxury home, this architectural gem, was a boarded up, run-down, dilapidated mess, which the locals thought was inhabited by The interesting thing about this book so far has been that it's translated across the world, whereas I'm not sure how many other British Asian authors that we're talking about, for example, today, can travel. Can those books travel? I know you've learnt some Yorkshire phrases today, haven't you?
I tried to learn it, but I've forgotten them.
E by gum was one.
E by gum.
Have they been mithering you all day?
No.
Were you born in barn?
No, I wasn't.
What it actually means is you've left the door open.
Were you born in a barn?
Yeah, so where somebody leaves the doors open, you go, born in barn, were you? And that means shut the door.
Oh, okay, okay.
Do you fancy chip butty?
Yeah. What that mean?
It's butty, as in, that means sandwich, and chips are French fries. So you've literally got a sandwich of French fries.
Is that all you think that I'm going to be doing?
What, eating chip butties and being mithered? Dar Khalifa, which is the name of this house, we know that Dar means somebody famous lived in here.
Dar Khalifa means the Caliph's house. It's a very, very grand name, and originally a caliph had lived here, a member of the royal family.
There's no doubt Bollywood's always going to be the main breadwinner when it comes to Indian cinema. But exposure like this gives hope to independent filmmakers who otherwise would have to use grants and funds to create their work. I've felt the egos, I've heard the opinions, blah, blah, blah. Ultimately, there's only one way to judge a book's success. I'd love to be able to go to my local cinema and see an art film or experimental film. It's not going to happen overnight. But at least something like this opens our minds to the other possibilities out there.